Look what we've got here, a freshly baked ADV2. At least I hope that's what's in the box.
What's in the box?
Okay, the moment of truth. Brand new ADV2.
We happy? Yeah, we happy.
Charger. I think that's a brand new one for the ADV2. So far I only used the hypercharger, but I saw the regular charger at a friend of mine, and this one looks very different. I think it's way smaller even. What do we've got here? Oh, the new handle. The improved new handle. Nice. Grippy. The old handle was a pain in the ass. You could wrap it with this bicycle handle tape that made it much better, but yeah, still it wasn't very comfy. This one is actually this really nice. See how it's bent here? Somehow nicer to hold it like that. I actually think they should have made it like flat here. So then if you hold it in your hand, it's like not so much on the outer fingers, but the weight distribution goes through all the 4 fingers. A set of keys, set of screws, more screws. Okay, hopefully now we can get out the board. Okay, that's the board. ADV2. Nice.
Nice.
The new motor connector. Let me try to get a closer look of the motor connector. Okay, this is how it looks like. It's an improved connector. The ADV1 connector wasn't maybe 100% waterproof.
And now it dies.
For me, I never had any problems with that. I did some additional badgering. Never got any water into the board. This connector looks also like it's easier to plug in. It was really tricky to get the old motor plug connected. And I think also they improved this cable here. They used to be like the wrong size for those, what is it called, cable glands. So I think they improved on that as well. Okay, the power button looks very similar to the old one. There have been 2 iterations of this button. One was more flat and this one is more extended out a little bit. The charger port looks the same. Same bumpers, still ADV on it. But now, yeah, the additional logo on the rails. This is nice, I think. I like that addition. Before that, there was no branding at all besides on the bumpers. So you could only like figure out it's an ADV if you see this power button and the charger port on the same side. Okay. Shall we open the box, the front box, to see how the controller looks like? I think we should do that. They improved those screws on the footpads. It used to be like the same kind of screw as everywhere, like on the bumpers and everywhere. And now this is a Phillips screw with this super flat head. So he's a little bit more plastic now. And before that, they used to crack here, like all the time. But this was like the only part where it cracked sometimes, but the bumpers and everything, it was all fine since the update. The old plastic, that was really brittle, but since they updated it, it was all good for me. And yeah, I'm going pretty hard on my board. I almost forgot, let's check if a board turns on. I didn't even check that.
Where is my mind?
So let's check it now. Ooh, nice. Oh, low battery, but still, that's still better than no battery. Let's connect with VESC tool and see what the cell voltages are. Let's maybe do a chest move first. Okay, take this, Steven. Okay, now let's go into the VESC tool. Here we have it, ADV2. It's right away ADV2. Normally you just have like some kind of number in here and you have to set the name by your own, but this one is already set to ADV2. Okay, I think now what you have to do is go here and connect to the ADV500 instead of the device here. Okay, so now I see App UI. This is super annoying. On the iPad you can't go down here. Bot looks like it's calibrated fine. Battery seems to be on 5%, but let's better check the BMS. That looks pretty good actually. I think I'm fine. I'm really lucky because there were some people who had the battery levels pretty low, so low that the board didn't turn on. And then if you would charge that, you would risk a battery fire. And there was actually one case of a guy where the battery caught some fire while he was riding. He charged it up like for 10 minutes, then he went for a ride and then the battery caught fire. So if you see like the battery is so low, check VESC tool, check the BMS page here and check what the cell voltages are. They should all be like above, I think at least 2.5 volt, but 3 something is even better. Okay, if you can't turn on your board, do not charge it. Try to turn it on. If it doesn't turn on, then you can't go into the VESC tool and check your cell voltages. Then I would strongly recommend to open up the battery box and measure all the cell voltages with a multimeter. If you don't know how to do that, go into the Floatwheel Discord and ask for help and people will tell you how to do that. Do not try to charge it. Open up the box, carefully measure the cell voltages, and if they are all fine, then try to charge it. But if even a single cell is below the threshold, do not try to charge it. These are the temperatures. By the way, this is not for each cell. I think this is maybe the BMS, this is the battery or something, I don't know. These are different temperatures for different things. Yeah, so it looks like my battery is fine. Okay, so I think before I plug the charger in, I will check how the controller looks like. To turn it off, you have to hold the button for like, I don't know, 2 seconds or something. Okay, I'm opening up the box now. I have to first remove the bumper. Let's use a power tool. These are those long screws. This is actually not the best design, I think. If you do like a lot of tricks, you will end up sliding here, and first you slide on the bumper on the plastic, but very soon you will grind down the screw and then it's really hard to unscrew this. And just recently I had to drill off the head of the screw to remove it. Yeah, I think those screws should be like a little bit deeper or something, I don't know. But this design is not perfect. It's not like the end of the world, but it could be a little bit better. For those screws here, use this longer bit. Actually, I think now in the ADV2 package, do you have this bit? It's one of those, right? Because for the ADV1 you got this. And now, I assume it's this one? Yeah, it's this one. So yeah, you got this instead of this. I think I actually prefer this one. But yeah, so now 8 screws here. Be careful with opening up the front box because there are cables attached to the lid. So if the lid falls off, it will tear off all the cables. So be careful with that. Now also the footpad is loose, so careful with this. Let's remove the footpad. Like this. Okay. Here, by the way, you have this connector here. So the footpad with the sensors, it doesn't have a cable like on a feature motion board or on some VESC boards. This is like the connection to the sensors. When I bought the ADV1, I was a bit afraid that those connectors, those little thingies here, wouldn't hold up for a longer time because I thought they will maybe don't hold the tension forever and then at some point you will lose the connection and then it will kick you off from the board. But actually I'm totally surprised this holds up perfectly. I never had any problems with this. So this is a really nice system actually. Let's check if, yeah, here's this rubber ring. Here's a little bit of silicone, so even if water gets in here, it won't get in here. Now, this is something new. Here you also see some silicone around this, and I guess you will also see it around here. Not really. Okay, so let's open the box now. Okay, it opens. So this is what it looks like. Now the controller is attached to the box lid. Before that it was on the bottom of the box. And you had those heat transfer thingies, like those things here. So you could transfer the heat to the box lid because the box lid is aluminum, I guess, and the box itself is made out of plastic. Now it's attached directly to the box lid, so it transfers the heat way better than on the ADV1. This is also a brand new controller, it's the ADV500 controller. Besides that, it looks more or less the same as it was before. You have this two-layer design. It's a little bit different than on the ADV1. I hope those stands here will hold up. It's a little bit more error-prone than the one-layer design, but yeah, let's see how it turns out. Okay, I'm closing up the box again. Okay, so here's the motor. Whoa. Okay, ADV2 motor. Forza Plus. Is that new actually? Let me compare that. What does this say? Pro Racing only? Okay, Forza Plus. Okay, it's the same thing. It's still the same tire. But now let's have a look on this valve stem. This one is a little bit shorter, as you can see. I can remove this one here. The Floatwheel valve cap. See, this one is shorter than the new one. And what I've heard, when you have the Pro rails and you want to lower them, then this valve stem is in the way. Look, it's like pointing inwards, while the old one is almost perpendicular. Let me measure this valve stem. So this one is like, I'd say, 22 millimeters. Now let's measure the other one. Now this one is way shorter. It's like, let's say 15 millimeters or something. So it's half a centimeter shorter than the new one. Now, if you have problems with your valve stem, if you have the Pro rails and you can't lower them, then you can replace this whole valve stem. I think I saw people on Reddit doing that. There's like a bent one, but there are also just shorter ones. I think the shorter ones are completely fine. Yeah, but for me it looks like I'm fine here. Let's put the Floatwheel cap on here. Hopefully this won't go in the way of the axle block. Okay, there's enough pressure on the tire, I guess. Yeah, the profile looks pretty much the same. I think the tire is the same as always. Now this is new. This is supposed to be a port for cooling liquid. I have no clue what this is about, how it works or anything. I think if you want to do races or going up a steep hill for a longer period of time, then you can put some cooling liquid in there and then your motor will stay cool no matter what. But I never had any overheating problems at all, so I don't think it's necessary for me. Now I can't see Floatwheel written on the bearings. I saw it on the internet and also on the TFL review that the bearings are now Floatwheel, labeled Floatwheel, but I can't see that here. I'm not sure what's the deal with this. Okay, you know what? Before continuing, I will try to charge the board. Let's go for it. Some people had this weird issue where the board came powered on. They opened the box and the board was on. They also discovered that if they turn it off, it turns on its own. For me, it was powered off like expected. It was a little bit drained down, but not too much. I think it's safe to plug in the charger now. Wish me luck. Okay, this looks good. I think. I think the board is actually on now, right? You can... Let me try to connect with VESC tool. Yeah, I can connect to the board. That's new. That's something you couldn't do on the ADV1 right away. I could also use the hypercharger now, but I think for the first charge the battery was so low. Let's do not risk anything. Let's use the regular charger and charge it up slowly. Okay, while charging the board, I want to explain something about the new BMS. Okay, here I wanted to explain how the new smart BMS on the ADV2 works compared to the old BMS on the ADV1, and how the battery error tiltback is implemented, and what I do not like about this implementation. But in the meantime, Surfdado released a video on this topic, and he not only explained it, but he also came up with a better implementation, and it looks like things are moving forward. Tony already acknowledged that Surfdado's version is better than what they shipped with the first batch of ADV2 boards,
and he promised to roll out an update for all ADV2 customers. And that's something I really appreciate about Floatwheel. I mean, sure, they can be a bit unpolished and unconventional at times, but when it really counts, they are very professional in my opinion, because they own up to mistakes, they are listening to the community, and they actively work to improve. And that's something you can't say about a lot of companies out there. So since the tiltback issue seems to be resolved very soon, there's no point in me covering it in details here. But if you're interested, you can check out Surfdado's video on this topic. It's linked below.
So the board is charged up to 50%, so I think I'm good to go. I can start the assembly. I will watch Tony's video and follow the instructions.
Hey, what's up guys? It's Tony here, and
Hi, Tony.
Today I'm bringing you the tutorial of how to assemble the ADV2.
I will fast forward most of that. There's Tony's video. There's no reason for me to do another assembly video.
The front and rear bumper, they are identical.
Yeah, this is something that I really like about the design of the Floatwheel, that you have 2 times the same bumper. So I'm doing a lot of those 360 no complies, and it scratches up the rear bumper a lot. If I scratch that up completely, I can then just take my front bumper, put it back, and then take a new bumper as a front bumper, or I can swap the bumpers so I can grind them down equally. So I really like this design. Those handles, a lot of people do not like those handles. They think that these are like rock climber handles, but I'm fine with them. This looks different than on the ADV1. It's also like less material in here. Now I can remove the rail, I think. Yeah. By the way, this color is also really nice. It's different than on the ADV1. I'll do a quick comparison. So, okay, this is pretty much scratched up. Okay, the light here is not the best, but you can see this is much brighter than the ADV2 rails. I kind of like both, but yeah, I think it's cool that they changed this. What I'm going to do is, I think I will change the height of the board. Basically what you have to do is the same for the Pro rails and the standard rails. You have to first lower this thing. Let me maybe talk about the differences between the Pro rails and the standard rails. So this axle block looks different for the Pro rails. For the standard rails, it has 3 pairs of those holes, and the axle block for the Pro rails only has 1 pair of those holes. But it has 5 pair of holes on the rails directly. So you have 2 more options. But those 3 options are the same as the 3 center options of the Pro rails, because the distances are the same as on the Pro rails. If you compare the board, like my ADV1 with the standard rails and my ADV1 with the Pro rails are lowered both 1 notch. So it's the most lowered position for the standard rails, but it's the second most lowered position on the Pro rails. And they are both having like the same angle. It's the same clearance, everything is the same. So the Pro rails, what they give you is 2 more options. You can go 1 notch lower or 1 notch higher. But for me, like going up with the board doesn't really make sense. I like it to be low. I think the riding feel is much cooler when lowering the rails. I've tried the lowest option with the Pro rails, and this actually feels really nice. It feels like you are hoverboarding, like in Back to the Future. It's like you do not even feel that you are having a wheel in there. It's really like gliding, because it's much less tippy. It's a really smooth ride. But on the downside, you lose a lot of clearance. So you get a lot of tail drags and a lot of nose drags, and you can't get up high curbs and things like that. So it's really fun to ride, but it's not really practical. If you are living in a city and you just want to cruise around the streets and there's no steep incline or anything like that, you just want to cruise around over flat terrain, then you can use this lowest setting on the Pro rails and you will have a lot of fun. But if you want to like do trail riding or do some tricks, then I would not recommend it. If you're interested in the higher options, if you want to put your board even higher, then I would recommend the videos of Gergö. I'm not sure if I pronounced it correctly. I will link those videos below, and he's riding the most high setting on the pro rails. And it looks fun, but it feels like really like you have to really balance. Now someone asked if you could achieve the same feel with changing VESC settings instead of lowering the board. The short answer, no. But I see like where this question is coming from, because when you lower the board, basically you get a more carvy feel. And you can also get a more carvy feel when you change a tune to a like more loose tune, or a tune with more turn tilt and things like that. But carvy means a lot of different things. What you achieve with lowering the board, like you see, this is lowered 1 notch. It gets a little bit less tippy, so it won't wobble that much. You won't get speed wobbles as easily. You will feel more like you are in the board instead of on the board. By changing the VESC tune, what you will get then is that it's more buttery when you pitch your board front or back. Or if you turn, then it will speed up a little bit. So it will feel like turns on a surfboard or something like that, a little bit more maybe. So it's a different type of carviness, but there is an interplay, I think, between the VESC tune and your rail setting. If you have your rails really lowered, then you will get nose drags and tail drags sooner, but you can tune your board harder, so it won't let you put your nose down that much or your tail down that much. And also, of course, the tire makes a huge difference, and how much PSI you're running. So these are all things that can change the ride feel a lot. So I will now show you how to lower the standard rails. But it's more or less the same thing as for the pro rails. Okay, so you have to unscrew those 6 screws. Now guess what? I will first attach the blocks to the wheel. I think that makes it easier to unscrew those screws. And by the way, now these are the same for the right side and the left side of the wheel. On the ADV1 it used to be different. The one didn't have this little cutout here, so now they are identical. It doesn't really matter, I think it's more cost efficient for Floatwheel. And for you it's also easier, so you don't have to think about using the right block for the right side of the wheel. Now the valve stem is higher than the rim. It's looking out here a little bit, so if you put your wheel on this side, then you bend the valve stem, which I think isn't great, so I will put something underneath that. I will just maybe do it like so. So yeah, I really hope Tony changes the valve stem back. I don't even think it's their fault. I guess it's just that the motor factory changed it at some point without telling them.
There are 2 kinds of screws in the back, the long one and the short one.
Okay, so short screws for this here. I have my own tool for this. This is tightened up now. So now I will remove this rail carrier. Now I can remove this thing. This is like how it was. And now I can move it like 1 notch down. You can't do 2 notches down with the axle block for the standard rails. For the pro rails you could go 2 notches down. Here I can only go 1 notch down. And now what I have to do is screw back 4 screws. This is a little bit of a weird design here, but whatever. You just do not need those 2 screws anymore. Tightening this by hand, just to be sure. Okay, and just like that, you lowered your rails. You have to do the same thing on the other side, of course. And then if you attach the rail on the standard rails, you can't do anything wrong. You just use the 2 holes in your rails, and then you will go through the lower holes on the axle block. On the pro rails, you just have 1 pair of holes, as I said. So you have to use then the right hole pair on your rails. But if you look through your rails, then you will see which hole pair aligns, so then you use this. And this is the only difference basically between the pro rails and the standard rails, and of course the look of the rails. I think most people prefer the standard rails actually, which is a little bit weird because the pro rails were the pro edition, the more expensive ones. But I like them both actually. I think it's cool that I have both boards here, so yeah. Okay, now as the blocks are in there, let's see if when I turn this around, okay, it seems like I'm lucky here with the valve stem. And as I said, for the pro rails, you might be not so lucky. If you use the lowest position, this new longer valve stem might get in the way of those axle blocks. So that's a little design flaw. Hopefully it will be fixed with newer boards, but if you have the problem, you just have to exchange your valve stem. Careful with those little screws here, they break pretty easily. I think the only reason for them is just to hold the rail in place while you screw those screws. By the way, be careful with your water plug. Now I'm basically going through the lowest hole pair of the axle block. Wow, what a workout.
The motor cable is a little bit too long here, but don't worry, you can shove the cable inside the core a little bit. As you can see, I'm wiggling the motor cable inside to the core. You can wiggle and push it inside. As you can
Wiggle,
see here,
wiggle.
You need to make
Wiggle,
sure the
wiggle.
motor cable that has a logo on it, and the logo needs to match on the little triangle here.
Okay, it seems like some people do not have this triangle on the upper side, but it's on the bottom. So then you just need to make sure that the logo is on top. Okay, I have this triangle on the upper side, so now let's plug in this cable. Okay, seems fine. This feels way more secure than the ADV1 connector. Okay, I think this motor cable is a huge improvement. In a perfect world, I would wish that they would use the same connector as Fungineers. I think it would be really cool if they would develop like a common standard, so you could use the Cannon core on a fun wheel or the super flux on a float wheel and so on and so on. So that's what I would really wish for in the future. But for now, I think it's a huge improvement over the ADV1. Wow, how the heck? Get this thing closed. Okay, I think the trick is you get like a flat screwdriver. You put it like, I don't know if you see that, but like on this, and then you can press it like that, but also press down. Okay, so now it's in there. We're getting closer to the finish line. The only thing left is the handle, I think.
Also add a few drops of Loctite in there, just to make sure. And you push the pin inside and wiggle until it drops into the right position.
Wiggle. Let me try something.
Just to make sure. And wiggle until it drops. Wiggle until it, just to make sure. Wiggle to make sure.
Yeah, onto something.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Tony here, and today I'm bringing you wiggle to make sure. Can wiggle and make sure.
Okay, what are the actual lyrics? My money don't jiggle, it falls. Okay, how about this?
My money don't jiggle.
We switched to crypto payments.
Okay, yeah. What's the rest of the lyrics? My money don't jiggle, it falls. I like to see you wiggle for sure. It makes me wanna dribble, you know. Riding on my Fiat, you really have to see it. Okay. Let me try something.
Money is crypto. Let's go. The old classic was crypto. That's soft. Can wiggle, make sure. Riding on my boat, you really have to see it.
Okay, that's a hit. I did some advanced multitasking here and finished assembling the board. I installed the mini fenders and the handle actually feels really comfy. Way better than the old one. I'm just wondering how it would work out if you install lifesavers. Here you see there's not much gap, so I guess it will be rubbing. On my ADV Pro, I did the same and it was also rubbing. I didn't really care about it, it didn't bother me, but here you have this rubber here. I think this will make way more traction, so yeah, I'm not sure about that, but nice design, curved handle, feels way better than the old one. Then the mini fenders, I'm surprised they are fitting, because on my ADV Pro I also tried to lower the board and then install the mini fenders, and this didn't work. It was not only like rubbing on the tire, it was like really blocking the tire, so it didn't work at all. According to Floatwheel, they should fit on a lowered board. The only thing that will not fit is the actual fender. You can put that in, but it's blocking the tire, but that's expected, so I hope I can get some 3D printed fender base so it can still fit the fender in the lowered position. Overall, I'm not a fender guy. I do not even really like the mini fenders, because when you do a trick and you land with your feet like this is pretty annoying. I like the board to be really clean, no extra parts that are not needed. I probably will replace those mini fenders with fender deletes or something. But for the case it's raining, and here in Bremen it's raining a lot, I would actually like to have a fender just for commuting. I don't want to make my pants wet every time I ride in the rain. So I would like to have the fender optional, but yeah, with a lowered board that's not possible out of the box. Maybe we should check the tire pressure just to be sure that it's not rubbing if I pump it up a little bit more. 11 psi. I like it to be like 14 maybe. Okay, tire pumped up and still not rubbing against the mini fender, so that's all fine. Now I would like to see if the weight is different than for the ADV1. So that's like 17 kilogram. For all of you who are not used to the metric system, this scale also shows stone. So this seemed to be 2 stone and 7, I guess it's 7 pebbles. Yeah. Now let's measure the ADV1. Looks pretty much the same to me actually. And here's the ADV Pro. ADV1 Pro. And it's also looking the same. No real difference between ADV1 Pro, ADV1 regular and the ADV2 with regular rails. Okay, so I'm now a happy owner of the whole Floatwheel fleet. I have the original V2 kit from Floatwheel. That's like a pint-sized board. I bought it secondhand, I didn't build it myself. It's like a DIY kit. You have to build it either from 3D parts. At some point I bought pint bumpers from Future Motion because the 3D printed ones broke in half on like the first time I tried to slide them. This one unfortunately is not working anymore. It doesn't have a battery in it. So this is the front side, this is the back side. I bricked the controller. Yeah, maybe I can repair it someday. This was my first board actually, but I didn't ride it much. I spent more time repairing it than riding it. So this one is bricked, but the other 3 ones are working fine. Now this is my first real board where I really learned to ride. Like within the first 2 weeks I had the ADV Pro, I rode more than the half year or so on this V2 kit. So this was my first ADV Pro. Then I bought the regular ADV. It's a long story. It's not like I did not plan to have all the Floatwheel boards. I'm not such a fanboy. It's a long story. Maybe I tell it in another video. Here we have the ADV, and this is now the brand new ADV2. So I'm wondering if someone else has all those 4 boards or maybe even more Floatwheels. Leave a comment. I think for me, I do not need 3 boards or 4 boards. I probably will sell one of those, either this one or this one. Hopefully I can sell it to a friend of mine or to someone nearby so we can float together. Yeah, and maybe I'll buy a fun wheel someday. So I would really like to see how the fun wheel compares to the float wheel. Okay, now before riding the ADV2, we have to make some important settings in the VESC tool. For all of you who buy a new ADV2, do those settings first before you go ride. I connect to the ADV2, then I connect to the ADV500. Super important to do that. And now I see the app UI and everything up here. And now I can say backup configs. We'll say it will override those configs for this board, but yeah, I don't have any backup config for this board. Yeah, so I can just continue. Okay, backup done. So now if you screw anything up, you can restore your backup. Hopefully you don't need to do that. If you have any problems, go to the Floatwheel Discord, and if you're new to VESC, do not try just to improvise and change things on your own if you don't know what they do. Better to ask in the Discord and to be sure that you're doing the right thing. Now what I will change to the motor. There's a video from Surfdado who explains all the settings, why they are needed and everything. I will link this video in the description below. Here I will just do the necessary settings and that's it. So I go to General, to Current, and now before you change anything here, hit Read once. Okay, because I heard there's like a bug in the app when you don't hit Read, it can have like wrong values in here, and then if you say Write, you will write those wrong values. I'm not sure if that's really happening, but just to be sure, hit Read once. Okay, now maximum current, maximum brake and absolute maximum current. I will go with the safest option. You can watch Surfdado's video, he explains what options you have, but I will now set it to 150, minus 150, and this can stay at 220. Motor current max 150, motor current max brake minus 150, absolute maximum current stays at 220. I hit Write. Okay, now I go to the temperature tab. So still motor config, general temperature, and now to acceleration temperature decrease. I hit Read just to be sure. Then I set this to 0 and I hit Write. Again, more information on that in Surfdado's video. Once we've got that, we go to App CFG, IMU, and then again hit Read. Sample rate, we set this to 832. Okay, and we hit Write. Then you have to go to Refloat CFG. You have to go under Specs. First hit Read, and then Balance Loop, enter 832 Hertz, and then you can say Write. Now, as I'm here, I will also change something else, because I do not like to have a dual zone sensor. So I will set mine to POSI right away, so it's treated like one sensor zone. And that's like here and this here. Okay, you don't have to do that if you want to have like this heel lift stop. I do not like that. Yeah, I choose POSI here. Okay, now I go to Float Control. Close VESC tool, go to Float Control, connect to your ADV2. I just want to see if it gives me any errors. Okay, configure board, give it a name, ADV2. The Canon config, battery cells, I guess yes. Let's write. Okay, vehicle isn't tracked. Yeah, I don't care. Okay, so I don't have any errors here. Float Control shows you some errors if there are any, but it seems to be fine. So yeah, we are good to go. Okay, the ADV2 is set up and assembled and I'm stoked to go ride. Are you stoked to go ride? I am stoked to go ride. But that's for the next video. I will also have to do a face reveal because I can't ride with a mask in front of my head. So that's all in the next video. If you are from the future, you can click right here, right now and watch the video directly. But for all those non-time travelers, make sure to subscribe and ring the bell and
Rock on, my guys.